fourth week for our show, our program, whatever you want, our chit chats for 3Gen.
Yes.
And I'm Gen X. I'm Kai Gibbs. I'm from Generation X. We got my mom, the baby boomer, and then we got Kennedy, who is Gen Z. And we're 3Gen. And this is just, hey, see me. And this is just us discussing topics that impact the Black community from 3 generational perspectives. This week's topic is code switching, and we might touch on covering too, but code switching and covering. So have you ever been like the only, like the sole Black person in a room, and it might be a room of professionals or something, and you felt you had to code switch?
I've probably had that situation several times, but I've never felt that I had to. I think it's a maybe an unconscious thing that you do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get the conscious feeling that I have to.
No.
I think it just happens.
So
Yeah.
what is that then? Like because I feel like essentially it's not necessarily in a professional environment, but let's say you got pulled over by the police. Yeah.
Of course, it depends on the situation. For like you use police, and then another one, then that wouldn't necessarily be professional. But in a professional setting, then you're going to do it in another way. So when I say that out loud, that is a skill, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess we could term it as a survival skill. Trying to save yourself with the policeman. Maybe you're trying to save your job, or
maybe you're applying for a loan,
or you whatever, something.
And let's say you're going to this bank and you want this loan. So if you are say you from the South and you have like this Southern accent, and you're going in there, and you automatically, you might feel like you have to like change the tone, the pitch, the
Okay.
the enthusiasm in your voice, so that then, because I'll turn on customer service Kai in a minute. Yeah. What about you, kiddo? As Gen Z, do you have to do that? Have you felt like you needed to do that at all?
Yeah, sometimes it is conscious, sometimes it's unconscious. I don't really think anybody acts the same with everybody. We don't act the same with our family members as we would our friends, as we would our coworkers, as we would our sorority sisters, as we would our kids, So it all just depends on who you're with. Like, I have different friends that would not probably be friends with each other, but they are friends with me, and we have different likes and different values and things like that. And I may act one way with one friend group and a different way with another friend group, but that doesn't mean that I'm not being true to myself. I'm just a multifaceted human being, and, I'm complex in who I am and what I like.
Mm-hmm. So yours is not it's not like a survival thing for you.
I mean, sometimes, like, I feel like I haven't had to do that in a while. I guess, like, I did feel like I had to code switch at my internship 2 summers ago or something like that. Like, I recently read an article that said that, Black women who come into a job interview with their natural hair are less likely to get a job. So in a certain way, Black women specifically are forced to assimilate. And then Black people in general have assimilated so much that it's just, we've kind of taken it on as our own. We've kind of taken on the dominant culture as our own culture. I mean, obviously, we still have, African-American culture to lean back on. In African-American vernacular English, and then like, I guess you would say like mainstream proper English or whatever.
The Queen's English.
Huh?
The Queen's English? That's not the one you talk about, not the Queen's English. Yeah, I think that you touched a little bit on covering as well, because I think there's kind of like two, they're kind of intertwined, but they're also different. like code switching is typically going to be like your voice or whatever. You know, it could be the way you dress. You know, if you wear, let's say, baggy clothes or like ripped jeans and stuff, or baggy clothes and a certain type of t-shirt or whatever, even if you're going to go into you could be highly educated or whatever, but as a Black person, if you're going to go into like a bank or something like that and you're asking for something like a loan, I don't think you're going to wear that, you know.
Right.
Maybe that's just common sense, but then again, a white person could potentially walk in there with raggedy jeans and holes. They could have been working on a car and go in there, and they may not think twice about potentially giving them that loan, you know. So that's a part of it. And covering, I think covering is more like strategic way. I think it's conscious, whereas code switching might not be conscious, but covering is conscious, it's strategic, and it's a way to cover a stigmatized aspect of who you are for survival. So let's say same-sex marriages, gay people, you know, that's like being in the closet or whatever. You know, you're covering. So you feel like you had to cover it all, Mom?
Let's see.
Bless you, TP.
Oh, well, that was TP.
Did you hear it? He sneezed.
I've had to cover.
Cover what?
Cover as far as dressing a certain way to go a certain place. Because I am aware, and I want to bring this up and you might remember it. When we were in North Carolina and we would go to some of those stores, it was very racist out there. So we would go to
Belk.
We would go to some of those stores and there would be a certain attitude. But I remember this one particular day you had on this Harvard sweatshirt, and it seemed like everybody was speaking to you and giving you good customer service in a store that we had been in many times before without you wearing that Harvard shirt. And I remember that energy. I remember that.
I think we talked about it that day too.
Yeah, we talked about it that day.
It was probably the whole Obama thing, because, you know,
I don't know.
It was around that time when we were there.
Yeah, well, that happened to me after.
Might have been 2008.
President. No, I think it was before then though. It was just the fact that you had on the Harvard t-shirt and what it mean to people.
Yeah.
And so that type of stuff happens, which is funny to me. But yeah, that type of stuff happens. So I have had to cover as far as knowing where I'm going and what they might expect if I come in with my regular casual dress. So I had to put a little oomph on it, you know, kind of situation.
I think that's more code switching.
Oh, is that code switching? Okay.
Because covering it would be like, you know, like passing. Like the lighter people, like the,
Oh, that would be covered.
White passing?
Yeah, like, and it was like.
Kennedy? What did you say?
I said white passing.
Oh,
like
okay.
Markle a lot. She talks about how she's been in situations where people didn't know she was part Black, and they've said racist things to her, and then she's later come out to them and said, "Well, you know, I'm biracial. I'm half Black. Yeah,
my mama Black.
Right.
That's my mama right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was married to a biracial woman, and him and his friends was talking. He was Black, but he and his friends were talking about Black women. And his wife was biracial, and I guess he really didn't know it. And she had to come and tell them in the middle of their conversation, "You're talking about Black women. I'm half Black."
He didn't know his wife was half Black?
He thought he was married to a white girl.
Okay, so the family didn't go to the wedding.
She evidently not. And she evidently wanted to leave it like that so she can reap the benefits of, you know, whatever.
I guess she just had enough. Yeah.
Okay.
So stuff like that. And I was just thinking about like Rachel Dolezal. That's not an example of it.
Oh, okay.
He passes a Black person, but there's nothing stigmatized about being white in America. So there's nothing for her to hide
Right, okay.
to get a benefit out of,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
of being treated hopefully equal. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's with like when older women who aren't married or who don't have children, they might hide that. I know a lot, not a lot, but a few women my age who wear wedding rings and they're not even married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're not even married. So I think they believe that that's the thing.
I have covered then, because I put on a ring that looks like a wedding band somewhere time when I knew I'm going to deal with men, because they give you
Because you don't want them hitting on you?
Not that. No, they're not trying to hit on me. I'm gonna pop them back. No, I don't put shade down on
Not
myself.
hit.
I know. No, because they seem to have a more of a respect for women. Not so much they have more of a, not so much that they have more respect, but they act more respectful. And it might be in the back of their head that there's a man.
There's a man around. Oh.
So I used to do that a lot. I used to put on a ring that I have that looks like a wedding band on my left hand. I wear it on my right hand most of the time, but I used to switch it and put it on that hand because I knew I was going into an area, say like mechanic, something as simple as that, because I noticed that over the years, that it's a different conversation and it's a different tone.
Yeah. So yeah, you have covered. I've had to cover before, like when I haven't had to, I didn't have to, but I felt like there would be a stereotype of when I first got divorced and I had the kids and people knew I had these children. They knew I had this family and stuff and knew that I had a husband. And then all of a sudden I don't have a husband and I have these kids. So in my mind's eye, and that could have been something that I did to myself too, just thinking, I'm a statistic. I'm a single Black mom, and so I don't know that I didn't keep wearing my wedding ring or anything like that, but it was never like a big announcement, oh no, I'm divorced now. So, I wasn't like trying to let people know about that stuff because I felt like it was a stigmatized part of me. Yeah. Anything else? What about you, Kennedy?
I've definitely done some covering and code switching, I'd say, mostly in high school, and in middle school too, and in elementary school. I feel like,
elementary.
You remember that?
Elementary. What are they covering up?
Because I just remember definitely in North Carolina when I was like one of like 3 Black girls in my grade or something like that. One of 2 Black girls in my grade. And I remember I'll never forget the first time I heard a racist joke was in the 3rd grade on the playground. They made a racist joke, and then this other guy was talking about
Did you tell me or what?
I think she did. I think she told us that.
I want to hear it because I might remember. That somebody heard their parents say that joke.
Yeah.
And then there was another joke where there was this Black teacher and her name was Mrs. White, but she was Black, and everybody was like, oh, she needs to be called Mrs. Black, Mrs. Brown. And I just remember there being playground drama. I had my clique with me. My clique was like, yeah, Kennedy, like I totally agree. And then there was another clique that was with the other people, the racist people. So funny. But I've definitely like covered in like just in situations where I found that I've been like the sole Black girl or like one of like 2 or 3 Black girls. I definitely have like, I don't know, kind of ramped up my portrayal of whiteness.
I ramped up my portrayal of whiteness. Is that what we're calling it? Okay.
It's like, I don't know, like my understanding of like what white people like, what white people think is funny, how white people think I should act. And then I've also done that in situations where, I'm around a lot of Black people and I feel like that I've heard, oh, that's white or whatever. So then I won't talk about things that are considered white, or I won't talk about things that are considered, that would make me be considered an Oreo or things like that, you know? So, I mean, I've done that. I think now it's just become so normal for me. Like, it's really, I was actually talking to a friend the other day, like, I'm actually really good at code switching, and I feel like I'm really good at covering, because I'm really good at reading the room, I feel. Excuse me. And I feel like I'm really good at assessing how other people are and what their interests are and how they expect me to behave. And so that's something I'm constantly doing around friends, around family, around coworkers.
Yeah. So it's not like completely switching up who you are. And I'm going back and forth with covering and code switching.
Yeah, so maybe the term, because that seems like a form of intelligence to me, to know what you need to do at a certain time in a certain situation. So I guess code switching would be the term, but it's still, like you said earlier, it's a skill. And then it's also a form of intelligence that you have.
But it's just because of the dominant culture's attitude towards Black people. So that's not okay that people would have to code switch. But I get where you're coming from. Like, it's kind of survival. It's not necessarily assimilation.
No.
We don't want to be like you. We want to survive you. You know, we want to survive around you.
Yeah.
We don't want to be you.
Right.
And because you're, and of course I speak in general terms, but because you're unwilling to accept that people are different from you and to accept those differences and the different dialects of people and whatever else in their code switching, then this is what we do to survive and to, you know, move up and maneuver in our careers and stuff, for example. But I definitely feel like when it comes to covering, I think it's like not feeling like who you are is good enough to be in that room. So you're going to cover something about you. There's like that fine line. Are you covering, or are you just like, this is work and this is home? You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, but I don't want to have to dumb down my dignity just to feel like I belong in the room, or to feel like, for example, with the police, like, why do I have to do that? And that is definitely a culture thing, because I don't even think it's not just about white police. I think any cop that came to your car, you might, you know, like, sit up straight, put your hands there. You might change your tone and turn into, you know, customer service Kai.
Yeah, and I might add too that I believe that at a certain age, maybe you stop doing that.
Because you just don't give a damn.
You just, you like.
Like, baby boomers are like, I'm a boomer.
The hell with it. You know, I'm over that. Like, I'm over that. What? You stopping me? Why are you stopping me? You know.
You're like, here we go with this again.
Here we go with this. Why are you stopping me now? Ralph, didn't you stop me the other day? I told you the same thing that Ted like. I told you I wouldn't have no money until the 1st. Now, you know, so why you stop me?
It's my retirement direct deposit.
Yeah, this is the 31st, and I told you I have. And next week, if the tail light ain't fixed, they ain't give me the ticket. Other than that, gone, boy.
And then, like, for me, it's probably the whole look straight ahead, hands on the wheel. I might already have like a card already made for them that says, like, I don't wish to hurt you. I have no weapons here. My name is this. Here's my information. Here's my card, you know, my business card, my ID. Whereas Gen Z might be like, I know my rights. You think that's how you would be, Kennedy?
That's not how I would be, but I do know, like,
you're like, not me.
That's not how Black Gen Zers are going to be. That's probably how, like, white Gen Zers are. Like, they're definitely getting bold. Yeah,
that might be all the generations for white, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
but
I think so. In every generation.
There's definitely I don't think it's an equivalent level. Like, I feel like white Gen Zers are really just disrespectful about it. Like, I feel like it's a different level of difference. Like, I feel like white Gen Xers and white baby boomers, like, I feel like there's a level of entitlement
Yeah.
And so when a police officer may pull them over or something like that, they're kind of just like, why are you pulling over? Like,
I don't have time for this.
Yeah, like I'm on my way, like it's kind of just like annoyance more so, but like Gen Zers,
Yeah.
I down with the man, like
Yeah.
it's more intentional.
I don't have time for this. That was thing. That's very critical. People, I mean, like, that's important statement. I don't have time for this. Like a white person would be like, you are disrupting my path to, the mall or whatever. I'm going to the baby shower, wherever they're doing, they don't have time for it. Whereas, and it's just written off, like, I don't have time for this. You're going to make me late for my event. Late for your event. We might not even make it to our event.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that sense of like entitlement, we should be able to have that entitlement when we get pulled over by police. We shouldn't feel like I might not make it,
Right.
so that's crazy to even think about. But
Yeah.
anything else about code switching or covering that you want to add, and we can wrap things up now?
I don't have anything else. Code switching. It's really something.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be unconscious, sometimes it's conscious.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes it can be a good thing, sometimes it can be a bad thing,
Have you ever covered like where you live, the neighborhood or the particular house or anything like that where you live? Or maybe maybe you're in an apartment and you're like,
No, I don't recall ever doing that.
military housing.
No, I love military.
Like, I like the military house.
I love the base, period.
I can stand living in military housing. I like to be out of here.
Well, you always taught me, Mom, that it's just like not, it's just not proper etiquette to discuss how much money you have, what kind of car you're driving, what your house looks like. It's just not something you do, and you don't ask other people like,
Did I teach you that?
I don't know. Maybe you taught me it. Maybe you didn't. I don't know.
It's a video of my Tesla driving itself on Facebook.
Okay.
Was that me?
Well, I guess I picked it up from somebody else though. I don't know. I feel like
she might have taught you that earlier on. Now,
yeah, I feel like
as you get older, you don't care.
But yeah, talk finances and stuff.
Yeah. So there are times where, yeah, that's just something that I just don't talk about, because people, I remember one time I was with Jonathan and this other couple, and Jonathan, I don't know how this became the topic of conversation, but Jonathan, for those of you who don't know, Jonathan is my boyfriend. And Jonathan was like, yeah, she lives in the wealthiest Black county or top 10 wealthiest Black counties in America. So I was like, because I just, I don't want people, there's no need for people to know that. And then people start acting different,
They do.
And then they start treating you like, oh, well, she got this. She don't, and I'm just like, well, you do know that that's my mom's house.
Okay.
That's my mom.
That's not my mom living house. That's my mother's house. So I just happen to stay there.
Yeah. She just allows me to continue to stay there until I get a certain age.
That's too funny. He was all impressed by it. Like, go on, tell him.
Yeah, he was like, all proud, So I was like,
yeah, that's the same thing. That's the same thing with age. As soon as you tell somebody what your age is and they acting like they need to help you with your get to your walker or something, I'm like, I'm like, why? No. Didn't you just see me turn a flip? Don't be doing that. Dang. Yeah. And I learned a long time ago from a nurse. I used to introduce her as a nurse because I was just really proud of her. And she was going to school to be a nurse practitioner. And she said, please don't introduce me and tell people I'm a nurse, because then they won't share stuff with me that I might need to learn. So from that on, I stopped, even though, you're so proud of a person, you want to say this about her, she's this or he's this. She made me conscious of that people will think, not everybody, but some people will think, well, she knows everything.
Mm.
When you know we never know anything. There's not a day in our life we will stop and say, well, I know everything. Don't tell me a thing.
Well, Malcolm does.
Yeah, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
had to tell him the other day. He told me I was doing cut and paste. It's not. I copy paste. He said it's supposed to be cut and paste, and not instead of copy and paste.
Not copy paste.
No,
Okay.
or maybe I cut and paste. Yeah, I cut and paste it. He said it was copy paste.
Copy
I said,
paste.
well, I don't need it anymore. So why do I need to copy it?
Copy it.
That's
Yeah.
not what you do. He trying to get my mouse and stuff. I was like, kid, you got like 10th and a half grade education, and you trying to tell me about some doggone cut and paste. I was like, it was a mess.
That's
But
like
yeah.
your brothers were. That's your brothers knew everything, because one of them told me that he couldn't be, according to the math, he couldn't been born in the day that and the year that he said he was. Because that
according to the math.
According to his math, he couldn't been born the year that I said he was. I said, well, that's fine. You choose the year and the date that you want to be born in. I'm gonna choose the year and date that I kill you. So then we'll know for sure what day you left here. Mm-hmm.
That brought new meaning to it. I brought you in this world, now I take you out. All right. So with that being said, that's the boomer. And that is another episode of 3 Gen. Thanks for joining us. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye. Love you.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.